Okay, the time is 9:54 a.m., July 17th, 2025. I'm going to drop an information bomb on the good reporters on the planet. Okay, so I know there's a lot of reporters, news, information people around the world who respect their trade. And their trade, I respect too. Okay, so even though the Constitution had to be revised, the trade and the respect to that trade of journalism wasn't wiped out. Understandably, the Bill of Rights had to go out the window. So don't panic about your trade, but be rational and have some reasoning. What is going on in the capital of the United States and in the United States for any respectable, moral, and ethical. Yeah, I say moral because we lost all morality in America. To any of these individuals around the world and the scant few in the United States, you, out of all people, know your lives have been threatened. So you understand, okay, why I am saying what I say, vaguely what I'm saying. I'm not giving a lot of information to that, no, because this is not what this is about, all right? Here's your information bomb. For 2 days after that man, that terrorist murdering man, made bombs on Facebook, chemical weapons, explosive devices on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm to repost every single one of them. Okay? When that murdering man did that, for 2 days after, 2 days, 48 hours, it was so extremely dangerous in the compound and inside of 1509 that I will never forget it. Now I'm crunched for time. 14 minutes. Please, respectfully, put emphasis on how dangerous it was. There was an immediate reaction to the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube videos of the trapdoor, of the chemical weapons engineering. There was an immediate reaction, and it wasn't from just the good military. Okay? What I witnessed was dead bodies, combat, hostage taking on my part. I literally couldn't leave my room. I had to crawl on my floor at night, not to be seen out my windows, just briefly when I was coming out of my bed. We'll get to those details, but this is how extreme it was. There was one night, it was the night after, it was the second night after he had manufactured chemical explosive weapons on Facebook. I couldn't walk around in my room. So I went to bed really early and I had to get up in the middle of the night and I had to crawl from my bed and do it. Walking around on my hands and knees. I've done that before here. It's serious when that shit happens, and it has happened before, and that's how I knew when to do it. Okay? I'm not being rude to the people out there listening to this. It's just gone too far in the United States. We are in the capital. Okay. There has been this most serious chemical poisonous gases that have been used for 2 days, what I can recall, before the man manufactured chemical explosives on Facebook, on YouTube, on video. At the front door. Yep. Only today, So we got 2 days before that video went onto the internet. And this whole entire time until today, was I even going to be able to ever possibly report it? It wasn't until today that I can report it. The physical effects are no joke. My cats, every one of them, became sickened. Of course, myself sickened. All right, just within the last 5 minutes of this intro, it's time and date stated. They used chemical weapons gas again, what I call the Saudi gas, but it's not at me. If it is at me, I couldn't tell, but I had to race. It was so strong. It came in the same time as the construction men back at the property where they organ harvest, 1505, one of these joints that way, banging, crashing, loud and proud, inside a chemical weapons compound. Construction men are back. Yesterday, the construction men in that property came back at this obscure time of like 11:30 a.m. They're back to the same sort of pattern where they'll pop up on Christmas Eve at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day. It doesn't matter. They never leave that backyard. They make themselves very, very, very apparent. You can't miss them. And then they start to yell. There'll be points of the time they're there where they intentionally, yes, hey, yeah, have these incredibly loud yelling to be heard conversations. It's all still going on and on. Now, the man, the white extremist, terrorist, male, who drives the 1513 sports car, he had been out of this manufactured chemical explosive weapon on Facebook. He had been out of this compound during that time. He had been gone for a handful of days, at least 4 days before that. I had not spotted him because they make themselves so obvious. Okay. He came back last night, and that house, 1513, those two, they're psychotics. They were putting human remains inside of construction equipment and grinding the human remains to a pulp. I am to report that and make sure this is very clear. In fact, I can put it into the title. Because of the violence and barbarianism that the United States citizens are now engaged in. A lot of it is for the Mexican drug cartel. It's Mexican, but it's also like Colombian and Venezuelan. How you can spot these bosses is they wear a lot of Versace and Gucci, like silk shirts. I mean, literally stereotypical. Okay, they think they are taking power through the United States and through the executive office of the United States. They think they run and operate Donald Trump. The status of this is the Ayatollah thinks he runs and operates Donald Trump. Saudi Arabia thinks they run and operate Donald Trump. I don't even know if Donald Trump is alive. This is day 3 that I have utterly and completely stopped reading the news. I don't even touch the app. It's for 2 tactical reasons. Well, 1 reason, tactical. I can't. It gives up my whereabouts too much in here. And secondly, it's not the heroes. They are here. But this is terms of speech. This is at America. This is at the cooping military. This is, okay, so understandably, this is why I say this. If you can't shut down a terrorist cell this barbaric, where they're shoving human remains into construction equipment that they have stashed in these houses and grinding people to a pulp, if you can't shut a terrorist cell down that barbaric, where they're making chemical explosive weapons on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, in the middle of the fucking day, folks. If you can't shut a terrorist cell down that violent, I don't want to read your news. You can go ahead and you can nuke New York City, and I don't care. If this shit here, this compound, chemical weapons compound, is still going, I don't care if Manhattan is pancaked. My fucking concern and my problem is this terrorist cell and this terrorist cell alone. the day this is over. Those construction men, no more grinding people to a pulp with construction equipment in the houses down the street. You got them in 1505 construction men. You got construction equipment in 1515 grinding up the fucking human remains and the gear. If you can't shut this down while they're making chemical explosive weapons on your family Facebook, then I don't care. You can pancake New York. It's not my problem. I'm not even going to read the newspaper story. So I don't know if Donald Trump is still sitting down there talking about his cryptocurrency. I don't care. All right? The chemical gas poisons have been so fucking out of control in here. My face was on fire. You know my terms of speech? Every single ailment and symptom of poisoning I have been suffering, and that was before and after a violent, murdering terrorist made a chemical explosive weapon on video and put onto the internet after. They just kept poisoning and poisoning me. I want the good press to have comprehension of how pissed off that I am. This morning around 4 a.m. when I went to the bathroom just to go to the restroom, my house had an explosive weapon just raging in it. Stench level 4, bathroom, staircase, floor 2, hallway. All right. The other day when I put it into statement writing, that was like the last time I did an information touchdown, I wrote down in writing chemical explosive weapon. It isn't every day, but they're still very, very present, and they come when those construction men show up. Those construction men, for my knowledge, that I can testify, for years are involved with chemical explosive weapons, combat in here, and chemical poisonous gases. The fact that they have the nerve to go, yeah, ha, yeah, ha, ha, yeah, and shout is beyond my understanding. The mail here, the USPS Federal Postal Mail, has been delivered every day. Gwendolyn Ball, the very dead and deceased Gwendolyn Ball, has now just received a Superior Court summons. That is now 2 deceased individuals from this property who have been summoned to the same court that I myself am being summoned to. Don't forget, on the 22nd, I am to be appearing in court for a fraudulent fake owner. She does not own this house. That very house where a murdering terrorist manufactured and installed chemical explosive weapons on video, on the internet, on social media. Ever since that man did that, I am forbidden from being online. It went too far. When that man manufactured chemical explosive weapons on video, on the internet, it changed everything for this compound. These terrorists can go ahead all they want and go at the same pattern and pace as before, but it's never going to be the same after you built a bomb on Facebook. Am I clear? There's been massive other terrorism and newsworthy events that have taken place since that man built a bomb on Facebook. But I have run out of time. Goodbye.